listening to the GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings and VSiN.
Welcome into the GM Shuffle. I'm Jeff Schwartz, 8 years National Football League, alongside Marty Herney, 30 years in NFL front offices, and we are presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. And Marty, we say it every week. 1 week closer to the NFL season. I'm ready for it to be here. And more NFL news each and every week. And we will talk about our players that we expect to make a jump this season. Our breakout players, we have a group of guys that we will talk about, whether it's first-year guys, second-year guys, some older players as well. We'll kind of give you the positions and those guys that we expect to make a jump in 2026. But Marty, let's get right to the news of the week here. Giants quarterback Jaxson Dart introduced President Trump at a political rally. That prompted his teammate, Abdul Carter, to tweet out something to the effect of, "I thought this was AI. WTF, what is Jaxson Dart doing here?" That prompted other Giants players to then chime in saying, "We have no problem here." And then Abdul Carter, about 24 hours later, said, "Hey, man, I talked to Jaxson Dart. We have no problem. Screw your narratives," which, by the way, they both created the narrative. So kind of funny that a player would tell us to stop having the narratives when they're the two guys who have created the narratives themselves, Marty. So, look, quite simply, Jaxson Dart has to make better decisions as a franchise quarterback in the National Football League. This was a decision that is selfish that he made to go to a political rally. And it was a decision that, quite honestly, to me as a former player, I don't understand how this benefits him or his teammates. When you're in the National Football League, in my opinion, your job, especially as a young football player, keep your head down and do your job, right? Even throughout your career, your job should be, everything I do in my life should revolve around, how does this affect my job? And you can still have fun, still do a ton of fun things in your career. I did a ton of fun things, Marty, while I played. I'm nearly 40. Only played for 8 years. I played at 9th in training camp. Everything I did during that time was thinking about how that would affect my team and my teammates while still having fun, vacationing, got married, had kids, did a lot of fun things, went to fun football games, went to a World Series baseball game. I did a ton of fun things, Marty, while I was playing. But my sole purpose, whether it was how I acted, what I did in my free time, how I worked out, how I trained, what I ate, was all about football. This decision was about Jaxson Dart. It was about how it made him feel, and not about how it's going to make his teammates feel, his head coach feel, his organization feel. It was reported that he did not tell the Giants he was doing this. And Marty, feels like a very much unforced error, by the way, for anyone in the same position that would do that. And there's a reason why no NFL player, no quarterback, no franchise quarterback has gone to a political rally and promoted a political candidate, because there's no reason to. There's no decision here that would make things better for his team and his teammates, Marty. So your first thoughts when you saw Jaxson Dart on that stage?
A few weeks ago, we praised Fernando Mendoza for making two decisions. One, staying at home with his family during the draft when his name was called out. And then he chose to stay at the Raiders OTAs and work on football with his new team instead of going to the White House. And we praised him for that because it's got nothing to do with politics. This is all about football. This is all about being a young leader. And you have to, everybody in that locker room is looking at how you're going to come in and prepare to get ready to step in at quarterback for your first rookie season, or in Jaxson Dart's case, in the second year in this huge year with a new head coach. And to me, it's just about decision making. I mean, we've talked about he's got to go down. He can't take as many hits. He's got to go out of bounds. And now they're saying that, it wasn't just this, but he's been out making a lot of appearances. And to me, the first thing I would do in this situation, I would call his agent and say, listen, he's the leader. If there's a dinner table, if there was a dinner table in the players' locker room, he's one of the players at the head. People look at him, everything he does. Right now, he needs to focus on changing the culture here. We have a new head coach, and everything should be football. He hasn't accomplished anything to be going out on the public stages. So that is a real concern for us. And we think that it's decision-making, and it transfers over to his ability or inability to make decisions on the field to go down and avoid hits. So I think I would take this opportunity. I think it's a great opportunity for John Harbaugh to just put his philosophy out there of what it is to be a good teammate. And I think he has taken advantage of this opportunity and probably done that.
So a couple of things I know we're going to get pushback on, right? Well, it was his own free time, Marty. You can do what you want in your free time. But that free time now affects the locker room, right? Because guess what happens? The first offseason workout, when reporters show up, guess what the first question is going to be? About Jaxson Dart going to a political rally, asking him their opinions maybe about the political candidate, maybe just Jaxson Dart himself. And then Abdul Carter tweet. So now what wasn't my business is now my business as a player because Dart went to the political rally, right? So this is what we talk about when we talk about distractions and how things affect other players on your team. And the fact that he did not think about how this could affect, maybe he did. And if he did and did it anyways, Marty, that's even more of a concern, right? Look, this is a very polarizing time in politics, right? In 2000, let's say that a young Peyton Manning, and he wouldn't do this, went to a George Bush rally or went to an Al Gore rally, right? Probably looked at it a little differently, even though people would, I think, have the same opinion about it affecting the locker room, but a little differently, right? We're in different times now. And for Jaxson Dart to not understand how this would be viewed by his teammates, for what gain? Like, what is the actual gain for him? Just to have some attaboys in his community, just to get some pictures and have a phone call with the president maybe in the future? And people will say, well, you don't turn down this offer from the president. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You do. You absolutely. Do you think Jaxson Dart's the first person who's ever been asked to attend a political rally in favor of a candidate? Absolutely not. But Mahomes is not doing this. Josh Allen's not doing this. And Lamar, Joe Burrow. And by the way, their politics are all spread out, right? Like, let's not pretend. The locker room is full of people that vote in many different ways and believe many different things. I often see, and I see players tweet out, well, the locker room, we all get along with our different backgrounds. And we do. That's absolutely true. But part of that, Marty, is because no one talks about politics in the locker room. It's like you don't talk about politics at the workplace. If you do, and I have, in 2016, I'm 30 years old. Me and one of our older tight ends talked a lot about Hillary and Trump. Just us two. We were 30 years old. We were the older guys, just us two by ourselves. We had a good time talking about different politics, different ideas. That's just us two by ourselves, right? In the lunchroom. That's not on the national stage. That's not in the locker room with an entire group of players. So you can do those things, but most of the time, the reason why we get along in a locker room is we put our differences aside and we don't know our differences a lot of times. Like, we don't know exactly how a guy might vote in the locker room. And so this is not about vote. Everyone should vote, by the way. Vote all you want. Vote your heart out. You should all vote. But this is about the undue distractions this is going to bring to the team and the decision-making process of a quarterback who chose a moment to be in front of the camera instead of thinking about his teammates and how this would make them feel.
This has nothing. I don't care what he did, what would go. It's got nothing to do with politics. It's got to do with the fact that I don't think he quite understands the position he's in, the situation that he's in, and really the stage that his team is in. And this is something that every Giant up there, especially the starting quarterback, has got to be focused on. Okay, our head coach got fired last year. We've got a new head coach. You know, we're starting this new philosophy. Yeah. Everything should be about football and nothing else. And it's the message that you send. That's what people don't understand is they think it's about that particular action. It's not. It's about the message you send. Fernando Mendoza came into the Raiders and sent the message right away. Hey, I'm a team guy. This is about the Raiders come first. The Raiders come first. I come second. I'm going to do whatever I can to help this team win. Jaxson Dart did not send that message by doing that, and he hasn't sent it, it sounds like, the entire offseason. So I think that there's just it's got nothing to do with one incident. It's got to do with an approach. And Fernando Mendoza's approach came out and shook us right away. I mean, we said right away, holy cow, they're doing backflips to get this kind of guy. Jaxson Dart has got to understand the benefits of that and just make this all about football for right now. You've got plenty of time after your career.
Right.
But win Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Be successful.
Okay. Some follow-ups for you here, Marty. So John Harbaugh has been someone who has supported the president, right? He's been in the White House. He's done some interviews on news channels. Do you think Jaxson Dart believed if my coach, let's say, likes the president, is friendly with the president, friendly with the administration, that he won't mind this? Like, is there anything to do with that where like he's seen his coach sort of visit President Trump and be in his presence before and talk about President Trump in a positive way? Is that something, because like not a lot of coaches are doing that. Again, a lot of coaches are Republicans. John Harbaugh has been vocal in his support for the president. Do you think that played a role in Dart's decision?
I think it'd be kind of like being saying, okay, I'm Jaxson Dart, I'm the huddle. Hey, if I change this play, coach won't get mad if I score a touchdown. It's just, you don't, to me,
Yeah.
what he thought, what John Harbaugh thinks, none of this matters. This is not about who or what or politics. This is about learning how to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. You are a leader. You're at the end of the table. All eyes are on you. When you lose games, you're taking responsibility for it. You and the head coach, whether it's your fault or not, you are a leader. And this is something that has nothing to do with politics. It's got nothing to do with where he went. It's about his attitude and really his decision-making. Does he really understand everything that goes into being a leader? If he doesn't, he shouldn't. He's young. Let's teach him. This is a perfect opportunity for the Giants and John Harbaugh to teach not only Jaxson Dart, but their team how to be a united locker room and how that helps you win games.
Coming up next, we'll talk more about some quarterback decisions in the offseason. But first, DraftKings has the Giants win total at 7.5, minus 110. In both directions. I'm curious if I will venture into an under, depending on how I feel about the situation, or maybe an over, right? The Giants are a very talented team, but if you can't trust the quarterback to make decisions, do you trust him to be good this season? Do you trust it to not tear the locker room apart? Do you trust when the Giants maybe start 0-2, Marty, that the team will be able to unite around the quarterback? They're going to get questions. That's the thing. The story's not going away. And we're not going away. We're going to talk more quarterbacks next. Justin Herbert, Jacoby Brissett, maybe Deshaun Watson. We'll get to our breakout players next. GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings Network.
You're listening to the GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings and VSiN.
Back here on the GM Shuffle, please leave us comments. You go to YouTube. I'm sure you have thoughts about our first segment here, or GM Shuffle on YouTube. Our subscribers are growing. Really appreciate it. Please leave us a comment. I'll answer. You guys, I have no problem debating this with anyone, and it's worthwhile discussion. Marty, to wrap this up before we get to Justin Herbert and Jacoby Brissett, what is the message for John Harbaugh to the team? And I'm curious about this because, as I mentioned last segment, John Harbaugh has been supportive of this current president, right? And openly. And he's one of the coaches who feels like he is in that boat, right? I don't think any other coach has really talked about it all politics ever. Like, I mean, Bill Belichick years ago wrote a letter to at then time candidate Trump, I believe it was. But can he get up in front of the room and say, hey guys, let's not talk about politics outside the locker room. Let's not make this who we are. But then he's also doing that himself. It feels like a tough line to walk here for Coach Harbaugh.
I think, and I've heard it before, Jeff, and I would think that he would come in with some sort of family type of message that's saying, listen, we always refer to this locker room, the people in this locker room, as a family, and we're going to have family issues. And there are families out there. You don't think there's families out there that have rules that you don't talk about certain subjects at the dinner table. And when they disagree, they work it out inside the house. They work it out behind closed doors. That's what we're going to do here. There's nothing wrong with having a bunch of different opinions. 53 players in this room. There's 53 different personalities and opinions, but we are a family inside, and we work out our issues inside. We do not make them public. So, you have to use common sense, and you have to be very thoughtful of other people's feelings in this locker room. I think he goes that route and tries to use the family message. And there's nothing wrong with having disagreements, but we have to work them out and bond together for one common goal.
Moving on to another quarterback, Justin Herbert of the Chargers, reportedly not at phase 2 of the offseason. And he's been seen over in Europe with his girlfriend, who is a performer, Madison Beer. Quite honestly, I'm surprised that Justin is not in the offseason workout. Again, voluntary, right? Voluntary, not mandatory. But starting quarterback, franchise quarterback, and new offense and Mike McDaniel. I am surprised that he has not been in camp. This is not the same thing, I think, as Travis Kelce volunteer. Travis Kelce was a 3-time Super Bowl winner and a Hall of Famer. Like, I feel like if he disappeared for a couple of weeks of off-season workouts, a little bit different. But it appears Justin Herbert not there and has been seen on his girlfriend's European leg of her tour. What do you think about this?
Well, again, it's the message it sends. And listen, it's phase 2. I'm sure that Harbaugh and Herbert were on the same page on this. But it just, when you do something like this, there has been some speculation that he's got 2 years left on his contract that, I think around the 30 million mark. So he is really, there's a big divide between the top quarterbacks and him. So there's been, I've read one or two people that were speculating, does it have anything to do with contract? But I just think this is a really big year for Philip Rivers. For Philip Rivers, he's got Herbert. For Justin Herbert, he's got again the two uniforms. Justin Herbert has got to come in. I think don't they have to make a pretty good playoff run? I mean, isn't this where his window's kind of starting to change a little bit too? And it's been a different situation with him. There's been changes there, but they had a ton of injuries last year. But I think this is a year that Justin Herbert has to really step up, be that leader, and win games. And it's funny, Jeff, because when you go back to when he was drafted, if he would have come out the year before he was drafted, he came out, he would have been the top overall pick in the draft. He stayed another year and people got down on him a little bit. I thought the athletic ability and the length and the arm strength, I loved him. Matter of fact, his pro day was on the last day. It was on the day where everybody shut down, the country was shut down for COVID. And I was out in Eugene, Oregon, watching them work out because I loved them. I loved them. Yeah. And one of the questions was, does he have that mindset? Does he have that grit, to be a leader and lead a team? I thought he was. He reminded me a little bit of Carson Palmer. But this is the year he's got to come out and prove that. And I just think that whatever the reason, not being at phase 2, I just think it doesn't send the right message, does it?
No, it doesn't, unless he really is, unless it's about contract, which is certainly possible. We don't know that. It's certainly possible. We're doing our breakout players here in a few minutes. I actually thought about Herbert as a breakout player, which kind of sounds odd, but I think that in a Mike McDaniel offense, with the weapons they've accumulated there, and the offensive line being healthy, Marty, like there could be another level to Justin Herbert we see this season. And look, is this going to matter in the end? Probably not. But it does send a message, right? Him not being there, especially traveling around with his girlfriend. So we'll see what happens with Herbert. I'm sure he'll be back soon, and we'll forget all about this. If you like what you're hearing here on the GM Shuffle, see more of VSiN Pro. Betting splits, power rating, sharp analysis, all presented on your first month. Go to VSiN.com/subscribe. Check out all the options for that. Marty, Jacoby Brissett is still in a holdout here. He's not attending workouts, and I've reiterated this many times. I agree with what he's doing. They said he's going to be the starting quarterback. He's making no money to be the starting quarterback. Marty, I think he just wants like 1 year of starting quarterback money, low-end veteran money, right? $15, $20 million a year. He's not asking for 50 a year. He's not probably asking for 30 a year. But you make him a starting quarterback, You're giving only $5 million away. That feels awfully low. Is it going to work? Probably not, but I do get why he's holding out.
Yeah, this is a story that's kind of close to my heart, Jeff, because and I don't know whether people know, and I think he probably still does it, but when Jacoby was at the Commanders, he negotiated his own contract, and he's got some people he talks to, people like Bill Parcells, people that he trusts. But listen, Jacoby Brissett, my dealings with Jacoby, where he is it was really one of the favorite experiences I had in a 30-year career. I mean, he's smart. He's very reasonable. This isn't an ego play. He just wants to be treated fairly. And he wants it in it could be in combinations, I think, as far as base salary and incentives, but he doesn't want to be the guy that, is the lowest paid starter for years and years and go out there, because he really is stuck in that low end starter, high end backup. But he is reliable. He's a great teammate. He's a great leader. I mean, you spend any time with Jacoby Brissett, he is the kind of guy you want in your locker room. So again, Jeff, here we go with the message again. Why wouldn't you do something if you were Arizona to try to meet the middle ground? And I've dealt with Jacoby Brissett. He is not unreasonable, but do something to send a message to that locker room that, hey, this is the guy that we think is going to be the leader here. It's a competition, but if he starts, we're going to treat this guy fairly. We're going to treat our quarterback fairly, because every other player in that locker room is looking and saying, hey, if they're treating him like that, they're going to treat me like that. This is a perfect chance for the Cardinals to send the message that we are going to take care of guys who show up every day, who give us everything they have to give us. And you've got to be careful not to set a precedent of doing this, but there are ways that you can get it done. And I think that I've dealt with Jacoby personally. He is an extremely rational human being and reasonable. Yeah. He's a team guy. He helps your locker room immensely. So I would love to see this end where they meet in the middle, everybody's happy, and Jacoby moves on and is a starter for this team.
Do you think they will find a common ground here and give him the money, or do you think they're just going to say, nope, you're our backup, this is what it is?
Yeah, I mean, they can do that, can't they? He's got once you start getting in the training camp in season and you're fined, he can't hold out. I mean, you can't hold out and be fine. So the Cardinals have all the leverage. They got the cards. They just got to do the right thing.
What would be a reasonable number, you think? Around $20 million for him? With maybe some
I don't know. I
incentives?
think I would really try to do most of it in incentives, not to set the precedent of raising the base salary a lot higher. But there are some things you can do. I mean, some of the incentives would be likely to be earning counting on the cap because he had probably accomplished them last year. But yeah, there's a way. If you sit down, I promise there's a way to get to a middle ground here that would work for everybody.
It does feel like he's the best option for them. Gardner Minshew, Carson Beck. Maybe Carson Beck plays at some point. Maybe that's why there's a little bit of pushback from the team side here. Like, hey, man, we just want you to start for 8 weeks, and then Carson Beck gets in there. Coming up next, we will talk about our breakout players. But first, Marty, Arizona Cardinals win total is 4.5. I'm on under Arizona 4.5, Marty. I think Arizona is in a world of hurt this season. Their schedule is absolutely brutal. They're a team that is just not going to win a lot of football games this season. They're not set at quarterback. Maybe a quarterback room that just has no hope. They play 6 division games. They're not going to win most likely. They also play the AFC West this year. They got the Chargers, Broncos, Chiefs, and Raiders. They have the NFC East this year. So Eagles, Commanders, Cowboys, Giants. Buddy, it is a tough schedule for them. If Carson Beck plays at some point, I think this team is in world hurt. Under 4.5 for me would be the play for the Cardinals. Yeah,
I agree with you. And again, I mean, the culture is the culture there, right? And it's going to take some time. And I hope that they can change it eventually, but it's just going to take a long time. And you don't have a quarterback. They're going to have a rough year, I think.
Their schedule: Chargers, Seahawks, Niners, Giants to start. Then Lions, Rams, Broncos, Cowboys, Seahawks, Rams, Chiefs, Commanders, Eagles, Jets. Saints, Raiders, 49ers. So the last 4 games, you get Jets, Saints, Raiders, 49ers. Maybe you get yourself a poor Jets
Quit
team.
reading it. That 4.5 is going to drop before we can get in.
Yeah, I know, right? All right, let's do breakout players. We'll do it next here. GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings Network.
You're listening to the GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings and VSiN.
We're back here in the GM Shuffle. Let's get to our breakout players, Marty, for the season. As we go through these guys, please leave us a comment on our YouTube channel. If you agree, disagree, maybe name a couple of players you would like to see. And we kind of left this open-ended for like what it meant to be a breakout player. So I think we mostly went with young players here, or players on new teams, things like that, Marty. So let's start with the most important position in all sports, the quarterback position. Who do you have as your 2026 or at least a breakout candidate here at the quarterback position?
Yeah, this won't surprise anybody. Malik Willis. Hey, if you're going to be a Bear, be a Grizzly, and I'm going strong on Malik Willis. Okay. I think that he is in the perfect fit here. He's got 2 guys who have been with him and known him. You know, I have talked about when he came out in his pro day and how much physical ability he has, and then just what I saw in the appearances last year from when he started and played for the Packers. I really think he has progressed, and they have done a great job with him, developing him, and he's with guys that know how he's been developed, know what he's been doing. I think they're just going to continue to develop him on the coaching side, and on the GM side, the personnel side. You know his traits. You know what he does well. You know what he doesn't do so well. And so it makes it easier for you to go out and get the talent to put around him to maximize his skill set. I really think Malik Willis is going to have a really good year this year, and Miami's going to be one of my possible surprise teams. I definitely will take the over.
Interesting. I'm on the opposite side of you with Miami. Obviously, we'll see what happens, and I think they would love, obviously, if Willis to play well. It would make their decision next year in the draft very, very difficult. We'll see. I mean, look, it's time. He's a starter. This is time. Otherwise, it's never going to happen. I have 2 quarterbacks here. They feel pretty obvious in the year 2, but I think Cam Ward is going to play well this year, Marty. I thought at times last year he really showed an ability to make big plays. He just had no one around him, no wide receivers, offensive line wasn't great, and a coaching staff that was on its way out. And you have the stability now of an offensive line that's improving. Tate so far has looked great in reports I've gotten early out of Tennessee. He has Brian Dable, who is an OC, I think is really qualified to be good at that job. I think we see a jump from him in year 2. And then Tyler Shough, who I don't know if we really paid attention to how well he played. Rookie quarterback, started 9 games last season, completed nearly 68% of passes, 10 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, just took care of the football, didn't make a lot of mistakes, good push the ball down the field when he had to. And again, the team was not as talented last year as it is it this year. And he gets the job from the beginning, Marty, right? From the beginning,
right?
He's their guy. I think Tyler Shough have a really good season this year. What do you think about Cam Ward and Tyler Shough?
Yeah, I like both those guys. I'm a little more worried about Cam Ward for 2 reasons, Jeff. The number one is, man, they dropped a lot of balls on him last year.
Did.
Okay, and this is all about a confidence deal. They're dropping balls. Now things go wrong. At some point as a quarterback, you have to start winning games. I mean, if you go enough time and lose enough games, and you can talk about this, Jeff, and you can refer to your favorite year if you want to, but if you lose enough games, the guys in the locker room start losing confidence, correct?
Yes, but it depends on what stage you are of your team, right? Like if you lose games early and you know that that you might have those issues early, that's okay. If you're supposed to win and can't do it, that I think is where you have a problem.
Okay, but we're looking at two teams last year that weren't supposed to win. Tyler Shough came in at the end of the year. Now they sat him the first part of the year, and was really smart. But he came in and won. Right now, you're looking at Cam Ward, who I think there's going to be a little bit more pressure on him to win games this year.
I think so too. Tyler Shough, it's year 2 now of Kellen Moore. Look, I don't know how good the Saints are going to be, but I do feel like overlooked is the wrong word. But Tyler Shough did some really good stuff last year. I don't know if we fully gave him the credit for that.
No, because where he came in, Charlie Dayton, the OPR guy that we all know and love, basically said it really is you're graded on where you come in, and
of course,
and the lower guys kind of get forgotten. But I've said several times, I mean, I watched Tyler Shough shoot 5 years ago when he was coming out of Oregon. I believe it was Oregon State, wherever he was, and guy, he was a pure natural passer. I mean, I loved him, and he had injury issues, and he stayed in, and he came out, and the Saints, I think, did a tremendous job, and I have probably more confidence in the fact that he will be their long-term starter than I do on Cam Ward right now, just because of what's around him and the development of where the Titans are.
All right, let's get to another position here of running back, Marty. You have a breakout player. I have a breakout player. Let's hear what they are.
And it's funny because I wasn't totally behind where this guy was drafted, but Ashton Jeanty from the Raiders, I think that Clint Kubiak's going to make a huge difference. It's not that he had a bad season, but I think that this offense is really going to feature Ashton Jeanty, especially as Mendoza grows and matures. And I think you're going to see balls, passes out of the backfield and runs in that run scheme that is so successful. I think that he is really going to be a factor and make a huge jump this year for the Raiders.
Well, the offensive line is better, right? As we know, Kubiak's scheme should allow some more. It's important to note here what sort of matters about the scheme. This Shanahan-McVay scheme does the best job of anyone at giving the offensive linemen easier leverage and angles to block, which allows for better yards, right, Marty? It's not that this offense is like has a bunch of killers on the offensive line. That's why it's always good.
No,
it's because they scheme up things for success in the run game. Now, there are some limitations in the pass game, which the Niners have really felt over the years. But in the run game, this is better than any run scheme. And my breakout player running back is Omarion Hampton for this exact reason. He was injured for half the year last year, right? And when we saw flashes 4.4 yards per carry. But now they get a healthy offensive line for the Chargers, and you get Mike McDaniel, who can scheme up a run game, Marty, like no one else. I think Hampton is going to be a 1,000-yard back this season if everyone stays healthy and they're able to use the run game as intended. You have Jim Harbaugh, who wants to run the football, Mike McDaniel, who wants to run the football, a young, healthier Omarion Hampton. I think Hampton is due for a breakout year.
Oh, I agree. And I've had my eyes on him. I mean, went into North Carolina, I think when he was a freshman or sophomore, and Natron Means was the running back coach there. And obviously I have a very good relationship with Natron. He was one of my favorite players and just a physical back. And he pointed to him and Daryl Moody and Mac Brown, and they all said, that's the guy, pointing to Hampton. He is going to be a special player. And really, he has shown the traits. I agree, Jeff. If there's a year that he's going to break out, it's going to be this year. He certainly has all the skill set and the traits to do so. So I like that pick.
Let's get to offensive skill guys quickly here. We'll transition, obviously, through the guys we like here. Who is an offensive skill guy you have targeted as a breakout candidate?
Luther Burden, wide receiver at the Bears. He had a great year last year, and I think he's just going to get better and better and better. And there's voids to fill there with DJ Moore going to the Bills, and I really liked what I saw out of this kid, and I think that Caleb Williams is only going to get better, and Ben Johnson's only going to get a better feel for schemes and how to scheme guys open when he has a better feel for their strengths and weaknesses. So I really do like Luther Burden a lot.
All right. I put down Harold Fannin, who is a tight end for the Browns. As a rookie last season, targeted 107 times, 72 catches, 731 yards, 6 touchdowns. Marty, he's really good. I don't think people pay attention to the Browns in a way that like he is a ball catcher, man. He catches the football. 6'4", 241 out of Bowling Green. I think he's going to have a huge year. Remember, Todd Monken at Georgia and in Baltimore, he loves to utilize a tight end. Loves utilizing tight end. And I think there's an opportunity here for a lot of touchdowns and yards from Harold Fannin Jr. So we'll see, obviously, where these guys end up this season. Coming up next, we'll continue talking about our breakout players. But first, our partners at DraftKings, Marty, have a lot of these receiving yards, rushing yards up at the moment. We just talked about those second-year running backs. Omarion Hampton on DraftKings right now listed 949.5 yards for him, and Jeanty listed at just over 1,000 yards, 1,024.5. You would think those would not be very. I mean, they're close. They're pretty close in what they in production. I think I would take Omarion Hampton over Jeanty. What would you do?
I'd go over on both, and then I would take Omarion Hampton over Jeanty. Yes, I just think that I'd like him better as a back, but I like both of them. But I think I would take Hampton's numbers over Jeanty's this year.
Yeah, Hampton's lower. He has a better offensive line, which is hugely important, and that's part of the discussion, right? Like the offensive line. I cannot tell you enough about the scheme between Harbaugh and McDaniel. I found that so fascinating, that the personalities too between Harbaugh and McDaniel. Have you been on a staff, Marty, very quickly with sort of such different personalities between OC and head coach?
Yeah, I think I think Ted Toner and Dan Henning were different personalities. Yeah, there have been a couple, but it usually doesn't affect anything.
No, it won't affect anything here. Let's talk more breakout players next. GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings Network.
You're listening to the GM Shuffle, presented by DraftKings and VSiN.
We're back here on the GM Shuffle. A reminder, every Monday from now until the end of time, Marty and I will talk about football. We'll add in our Thursday episodes near the season. We'll talk a lot of football. Before we know it, preseason will be here, and we'll have training camp news and notes. We'll have paths on everyone. We'll have plenty of things to preview as we continue to get our way to football here. We're talking about breakout players, Marty, in 2026. We have 2 more skill guys to talk about before we talk about some big fellas, and I have one guy on defense. I think defense. You have a wide receiver and tight end you want to talk about. Who's the wide receiver?
Yeah, and I as you say, we talked a lot about what where breakout means, but to me, in this case, it's about replacing a franchise legend, basically. And I'm talking about Emeka Egbuka down in Tampa. I mean, He had 63 catches last year, 938 yards, 6 touchdowns. But with Mike Evans now in San Francisco, I think he is going to sky's the limit. I love this kid. I really liked him when you went to Ohio State, and obviously what a great tradition and that school has of just producing these guys. But man, this guy is completely versatile. He's got great hands, a great route runner. I think he showed that he can get chunks and stretch the field. He just, to me, what he did last year was just a taste of what he's going to bring. So I really like him stepping up into the role of Mike Evans. And it's not like you can really classify it as a total breakout season, because when somebody catches almost 70 balls and up for almost 1,000 yards, that's a pretty good year. But I really do think his production is really going to increase dramatically. And the same thing with Tyler Warren, the tight end at the Colts. I mean, I thought this guy was the best tight end in the country coming out last year. I think he is going to be one of the best tight ends in this league for a lot of years. And I think that only problem is, that the uncertainty at quarterback with the injury to Jones and what they're going to have around them. I said the other day, I kind of expect the Colts to take a step back. Can he take a step forward if the team takes a step back? I really love this player. I think he's going to get better each and every year. So I do like him as a potential breakout guy in 26 as well.
Both those players' seasons, I think, will be defined by how good their quarterback is, right?
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield. Yeah. I love Baker. I love his effort. But he's going to run into one too many hits. Like he just, he's going full speed and trying to blow guys up with his shoulders. He's getting older. A new offense coordinator again in Tampa Bay, and then Daniel Jones in Indy. Like Tyler Warren is fantastic. I also found it very interesting about he's going to be tied to Colston Loveland forever, right? And then Colston Loveland's going to have like 1,500 yards this year. The Bears went ahead and drafted Loveland first, and it feels like that's a perfect fit for Ben Johnson. And at the time, it was like, wow, Tyler Warren is Loveland fits. It's kind of an interesting situation where Loveland sort of fit perfectly for what Ben Johnson wants, and Tyler Warren fits perfectly for what the Colts want.
Yes. Yeah, and obviously, I mean, I like Warren better. So when the Bears didn't take him, I thought they made a mistake, but they did not. And you said the word, Jeff. It's so much about fit in this league, and that's what we're looking here is guys that are coming in that look like they're fits and are going to take off this year.
I don't know if Loveland counts as a breakout guy, but he had 713 yards last year. He's going to have 1,100 this year, 1,200 this year.
That would be breakout.
Then he's breakout. I think he's going to have a fantastic season this year. Only started 11 games last year, played all 16, 82 targets. I think we're looking at like one of the greater or best pass catching tight ends in the league next season. Love it in Chicago. Marty, one more skill guy is Travis Hunter. When he played last season, he was really good. Got hurt. He's doing this two-position thing. I don't really understand it still. I think he should play one position and be great at that position. I think he's a breakout player, whatever position he decides to play, whether it's wide receiver, whether it's cornerback. Again, for the 100th time, I'll say the exact same thing. I would make him a cornerback first and then have some special plays for him on offense. That's what I would do. I'm not in charge, Marty. If you had to choose offense or defense for Travis Hunter, what would you choose?
I think I'd choose receiver, Jeff, where you took him in. And I think if you're really dealing with a dynamic skill set, which you are, and just off the charts athletic ability, I'm going to put him in the place where he touches the ball the most. And it's going to be wide receiver. So I get it. He's a great corner, and it would be a very hard decision to me. But this game's about scoring points, right? And I just think that I'd put him at wide receiver.
If he came to you and was like, hey, general manager, I want to play two positions or else. I don't know what the or else would be. What's the talk like about the one position? Because I think he can only play one. I think there's too much to play all these positions. He got hurt last year doing this. What do you tell him?
say, we drafted you to play two positions. We're not against that. But right now, we got to get you to play one at elite level first. So we're going to maybe change the timeline of this thing. And maybe for the next couple of years, you're only going to play one position. But believe me, with your skill set, when you get to the point where you're dominating, we'd be crazy not to play you over on the other side. So this is just, you got to have patience. It's not that you're not going to play both sides of the ball. You will, but let's go to one side and make some dynamic plays. And we think the best side for you to do that on right now, right away, would be wide receiver.
What if he said, I actually think that position is cornerback? Would you be like, oh, too bad?
Well, I think when you make the decision, here again, that now it gets to a principle thing where I'm not going to let the player decide what position he makes. I just say, listen, okay, I respect that opinion. Let's give wide receiver a chance, because I really think with all the traits I see in you, we see in you, you have a really good chance of being a dynamic receiver.
Yeah.
Let's do that. But I promise, listen, we promise, Travis, if it doesn't work out, you're going to get a chance on the defense side of the ball.
Absolutely fair. I got two more, Marty. If I got two offensive linemen for you, I got Gray Zabel, the Seattle Seahawks left guard. He was really, really good as a rookie last season. It feels like by the end of year two, we're going to have the, is he an all-pro discussion, right? Which is, I think, where you want to be. And he was great last year, really stabilizing force in the offensive line. Seattle will need him to be good again this season. What a great draft pick for Seattle. The other one is Troy Fautano for the Steelers, who I love coming out of college, out of Washington. He had injury year one. Last year was at right tackle. I think he's going to be the left tackle for Pittsburgh this season and go back to his natural position where he was in college and just kick ass, dude. I think he's just physical. He moves very well. He doesn't have the principal size of a left tackle. I think their draft pick of Arizona State, Ian Notcher, will end up playing right tackle for them right now. Do you think Fautano has the potential to be a breakout player this season?
He does. I love them as a player, but Jeff, you brought up the point. I can never figure out what position it would be his best position, and maybe it's left tackle. I thought it might even be guard. I love the player. So yes, he can be a breakout. And if he goes left tackle, that's for sure. And if you go back to Seattle, I just get the feeling, I'm looking at the Seattle front office and coaching staff, and this group's going to improve players. I mean, they just have a plan. They have that connection, and they are going to improve players.
Last player here, I want to bring one up to you. I was trying to find a defensive end pass rusher who I think could have a breakout in year two, right? We see that often, right? Like a guy has good rookie season, sort of then figures out in year two. Could Nic Scourton figure it out? 5 sacks last year for the Panthers, only started 8 games, but played 17. It feels like he has the potential, Marty, to be a double-digit sack guy in year two. Am I wrong for looking at him as being that type of player?
You're not wrong. I don't know. I don't know either way. I don't have an answer on that. But I will say this, okay? I think what we talked about before, and when we're talking about this, we lose sight of, right? The ultimate team game, right, Jeff? So you have to have the people around you to play well to allow you to be the breakout player. So it's, are the Panthers going to take that next step? I kind of think they are. I'm not totally positive, but to do that, Bryce Young's going to have to take a next step. And does he qualify to be a breakout player if they do that? I like a lot of the moves the Panthers have made. They got a guy at 17, I'd taken a 6. I just love the left tackle. So I think they have really improved this offseason. And if they do that, there again, when you're coached well, when the front office, when the roster's built well, your chances of improving as a player increase to maximize your skill set.
Speaking about improvement, we often see the coach of the year in the NFL, Marty, is a coach who has a team improve by leaps and bounds, right? So right now on DraftKings, John Harbaugh is the favorite, 6-1. Then Jesse Minter, then Robert Saleh, then Kellen Moore, then Joe Brady, Todd Monken, McCarthy, and Stefanski. Do you have a favorite for coach of the year right now in National Football League? It can be a coach who wins 9 games and goes to Super Bowl next season, absolutely. But it does tend to be some of those coaches that improve by 4 to 6 wins in their first or second year. Do you have a coach of the year candidate that you really like?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the Bills. The Bills got to make a real run here. So I do like the Bills. And if that happens, I think Joe Brady would be the guy. There are a lot of really good young coaches and a lot of good coaches that can win this and deserve this. But I think that I think if the Bills make a run and go deep and win the whole thing, I think Joe Brady's got a good chance.
2 long shots that have on my radar here. Kevin O'Connell 30-1, Kyler Murray win the division. Like that's certainly a play there. If they win the division and they win 12, 13 games with Kyler Murray, that's a discussion. Dan Quinn at 28-1. He's got Jane Daniels. He's got a good quarterback who's healthy. Yeah. He goes from 5-6 wins last year to 11 or 12 and wins the division and near the 1 seed. Definitely feels like a guy that could be up in that discussion here. Dan Quinn 28-1 on DraftKings. All right, everyone, please give us a rating, give us a review. Comment. I know we had a topic today that people had plenty of thoughts on. Go to our YouTube page and give us a subscribe. It's free.